This is the Rio Grande River, also known as Rio Bravo in Mexico. It starts in Colorado's Rocky Mountains. Then it flows for about 1,900 miles through New Mexico, Texas, and 5 Mexican states until it reaches the Gulf of Mexico. For centuries, this river has been a lifeline for people, farms, and cities on both sides of the US-Mexico border. But today, it is at the center of a major conflict. And it's not over borders, not over migration. This time, it's about water. Hello and welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Munmin Bhattacharya. Let's dive into the US-Mexico water dispute. Tensions are rising. US President Donald Trump has threatened Mexico with tariffs and sanctions. But why? Trump says Mexico owes the US a massive amount of water under a treaty signed in 1944. Here's what Trump said in a social media post. He says, Mexico has been stealing the water from Texas farmers. Trump said he will keep escalating consequences, including tariffs and maybe even sanctions, until Mexico honors the treaty and gives Texas the water they are owed. So what does this treaty say? The 1944 agreement divides the water from 3 rivers: the Rio Grande, the Colorado River, and the Tijuana River. Under this treaty, Mexico must send 1.75 million acre-feet of water from the Rio Grande to the US every 5 years. In return, the US delivers 1.5 million acre-feet to Mexico annually from the Colorado River. Sounds fair, right? But here is the issue. We are now nearing the end of the current 5-year cycle, set to end in October 2025. But Mexico has only delivered about 30% of the water it promised. According to official data, between October 2020 and late 2024, Mexico sent just over 400,000 acre-feet. That's way below the 1.75 million required. Meanwhile, the US has mostly kept up its part despite facing its own water shortages. So why is Mexico falling behind? There are a few reasons. Severe droughts, especially in the past 3 years. Rising temperatures, outdated infrastructure, and growing local demand for water, especially in agriculture. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum responded to Trump's claims. Listen to what she says.
Porque lo que ha pasado es que hay menos agua en el Río Bravo, sobre todo pues que llevamos.
What has happened is that there is less water in the Rio Bravo, mainly because we have had almost 4 years of drought. So there is less water. So what they are looking for are other alternatives to be able to technically comply with the treaty. I mention this because perhaps President Trump was not aware of it. There have already been working groups, and as I mentioned in my post, even the day before yesterday, a proposal had been sent out on how much water Mexico can deliver.
Se había enviado una propuesta de cuánta agua puede entregar México.
So according to President Sheinbaum, Mexico is doing its best, but water is simply not available right now. The treaty does allow flexibility during drought, but it also says debts must be paid in future cycles. But this is not just a diplomatic issue. Let's listen to the local farmers from Mexico's Chihuahua.
Pues yo no sé de qué manera, por dónde se le pueda pasar la agua.
Well, I don't know how it can get water through it, because if the river doesn't carry water, where will it get it from? The dams are empty. Where is the water going to be delivered to the United States from?
Ya está secando. Y no.
The dam is drying up. Soon the fishes are going to start dying, and it's going to be very difficult to be here. Let's see what they want in the United States. They want water. But from where? Water from where will they be given? There is not even enough for agriculture here, much less for them.
No hay ni pa nada.
In 2020, tensions turned violent. Mexican farmers, frustrated by the lack of water, seized a dam in Chihuahua. They were angry about sending water to the US while their own crops were dying. The Mexican National Guard was sent in. A protester was killed in the clashes. This treaty, already controversial in northern Mexico, became a flashpoint. But on the US side, things are also difficult. Farmers in southern Texas rely heavily on water from Mexico. They grow cotton, citrus, and other crops, all needing steady water supplies. Without water, fields go dry, yields drop. Just last year, the last sugar mill in southern Texas that had been operating for over 50 years had to shut down. They blamed the lack of water from Mexico. Meanwhile, both countries face mounting pressure from climate change. The Colorado River, another key source, is shrinking fast. There is little rain, but there is too much use of water, especially for farming and livestock. In fact, nearly half the Colorado River's water goes to raising beef and dairy cattle. Mexican officials are reportedly scrambling to come up with a plan. They want to avoid a trade dispute, but they are also under pressure from their own states and farmers. President Sheinbaum instructed her environment, agriculture and foreign ministers to immediately contact American officials.
A los agricultores de Texas, que son quienes están...
The Texas farmers are asking for water. So there is going to be an immediate delivery of a certain number of million cubic meters that can be provided according to the availability of water in the Rio Bravo.
While water is the main issue today, the Rio Grande has long been at the center of another major challenge: illegal migration. The Rio Grande is also a common crossing point for migrants trying to enter the United States illegally. Many migrants from countries like Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Venezuela and Cuba cross the river as one of the last steps in their journey through Mexico. Some parts of the river are shallow, others are deep and dangerous. Every year, there are reports of drownings during attempted crossings. To stop illegal crossings, the US has increased patrols, set up surveillance systems, and built barriers along parts of the river. The Rio Grande, in many ways, reflects the broader complexities between the US and Mexico. So what's next? The deadline is October 2025. Will Mexico deliver the remaining water? Will the US impose penalties? Or will both countries renegotiate the terms now outdated in the face of climate change? The Rio Grande still flows, but the waters of diplomacy are getting deeper.
7 states of India, eastern part of India, called Seven Sisters. They are landlocked country, landlocked region of India. They have no way to reach out to the ocean. We are the only guardian of the ocean for all this region. So this opens up a huge possibility. So this could be an extension of the Chinese economy.
A veiled threat for northeast India from Muhammad Yunus, the man who leads the interim government in Bangladesh. He was suggesting to China that as India's northeast is a landlocked region with no access to the ocean, there is an opportunity for China to extend its economic influence in the region. He made these remarks during a 4-day visit to China in end March. At the very outset, there were furious reactions from distinguished Indians on social media. Elected public representatives and thinkers questioned Yunus's real intent. Assam Chief Minister Himant Biswa Sarma hit back at Yunus on X. He wrote, "This remark underscores the persistent vulnerability narrative associated with India's strategic chicken's neck corridor." Such provocative statements by Mohammad Yunus must not be taken lightly, as they reflect deeper strategic considerations and long-standing agendas. Member of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Economic Advisory Council and author Sanjeev Sanyal wrote on X, "Interesting that Yunus is making a public appeal to the Chinese on the basis that 7 states in India are landlocked. China is welcome to invest in Bangladesh. But what exactly is the significance of 7 Indian states being landlocked?" Diplomatic advisor to 3 Indian prime ministers and former ambassador Prabhat P. Shukla had this to say, "It is not the 7 sisters that are landlocked, but Bangladesh that is India-locked. Once Yunus makes a sober assessment of the military balance, he will find that the Indian Navy is 4 times as large, with much more advanced capital ships, including aircraft carriers and nuclear-powered submarines." A week after making the controversial remarks, Yunus met Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Bangkok on the sidelines of the 6th BIMSTEC summit. There, the Indian side laid out some red lines for Bangladesh.
India's message was clear. Crossing its red lines won't be acceptable.
Prime Minister also urged in this regard that any rhetoric that vitiates the environment is best avoided.
Days later, India's Ministry of External Affairs announced that India is withdrawing the transshipment facility it had been extending to Bangladesh since 2020.
The transshipment facility extended to Bangladesh had, over a period of time, resulted in significant congestion at our airports and ports. Logistical delays and higher costs were hindering our own exports and creating backlogs. The facility, therefore, has been withdrawn with effect from 8th April 2025. And let me clarify here, I saw some reports. These measures do not impact Bangladesh's exports to Nepal and Bhutan transiting through Indian territory.
Assam Chief Minister Hemant Biswa Sarma hailed the decision. He said it safeguards India's national interests, security of the Northeast region, and protects India's strategic and economic priorities. So what was the transshipment facility, and how will its withdrawal impact the Bangladesh economy that's already struggling? In June 2020, India allowed Bangladesh to use its land customs stations for transshipment of export cargo destined for third countries, including Bhutan, Nepal, and Myanmar. This arrangement was designed to facilitate smoother trade flows and reduce logistical costs for Bangladesh, particularly for its vital ready-made garment sector, as Bangladesh's textile sector is its largest industry. Under this system, cargo could be transported through Indian borders and shipped from Indian ports or airports. This provided a significant advantage for Bangladeshi exporters, as shipping directly from Bangladesh required taking a longer and thus more expensive route around the Indian peninsula. Also, Bangladesh's airports don't have enough cargo facilities to handle the country's exports, whereas the Kolkata airport and Delhi airport have higher cargo handling capabilities. Indian airports also have direct flights to almost all routes in the world. Also, cargo shipping costs are lower in India compared to Bangladesh. This acted as an incentive for Bangladeshi exporters. This is how the costs compare. While shipping products from Kolkata airport to the Western world costs between $2 and $2.50 per kg, the cost of shipping directly from Bangladesh is higher, as it ranges between $5 and $6 per kg. So it was profitable for Bangladeshi exporters to ship their products to Kolkata and Delhi on trucks and trains to be loaded onto cargo planes instead of directly shipping from Dhaka airport. So why did India revoke the transshipment facility? As India's MEA spokesperson said, the decision was taken due to congestion at Indian airports and seaports caused by Bangladeshi shipments. It is a fact that Bangladeshi exports through India were causing significant congestion at Indian airports. In fact, the Apparel Export Promotion Council, or AEPC, had requested India's Central Board of Excise and Customs in February to cancel the transshipment facility due to this reason. But it is also true that India's decision came close on the heels of Yunus's distasteful remarks in China on India's northeastern region. Analysts say those remarks served to further vitiate the atmosphere in the context of India-Bangladesh ties. So how will the withdrawal of the transshipment facility by India impact the already battered Bangladeshi economy? Bangladesh's textile industry constitutes approximately 85% of its $55 billion annual exports. The sector is already under strain as several factories were shut down and several thousand workers lost their jobs in the chaos that followed former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's ouster.
Now, Trump's tariffs and cancellation of transshipment through India come as additional setbacks for the industry. India's move will affect the flow of Bangladesh's ready-made garment exports through India, especially via Indira Gandhi International Airport in New Delhi, which handled a substantial volume of such shipments. Bangladeshi exports will now have to be shipped to Colombo, Maldives, Dubai or Pakistan first and then be flown to their destinations. As this will add significant delays and cost to their shipments, it could undermine Bangladesh's competitiveness in the global apparel market and thus further strain its economy. To sum it up, it is for Bangladesh to recognize that it has more to lose than India if it continues to strain bilateral ties. Diplomacy, including neighborly relations, is always a two-way street. That's all in this edition of Connecting the Dots. We'll see you in the next episode with more raging issues. Until then, it's a goodbye from all of us in the Delhi newsroom. This is Munmin Bhattacharya signing off. Take care and stay safe.